Christmas pudding is a sweet, dried fruit pudding traditionally served as part of Christmas dinner in Britain and other countries to which the tradition has been adopted. It is also known as plum pudding or figgy pudding, and the dessert was made famous from Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol. The plum in plum pudding is a term used for any dried fruit, most commonly raisins and currants, with prunes, figs, or dates. Pudding, as Americans know it, is a soft dairy-type dessert like custard, but to Brits it simply means dessert. Therefore, Christmas pudding is translated to Christmas dessert.
Well, hello there, everyone. Merry Christmas and welcome to my kitchen. I'm Christy, and yes, I have made a Christmas pudding. And isn't this such a beautiful dessert? I can definitely see why this is a favorite tradition in the UK and many other countries. And to go with my Christmas pudding, I have made some brandy sauce. So let's dive in today, guys, and let me show you how to make this beauty because it's time to get cooking. So I have all my ingredients here to make the Christmas pudding, starting with this dried fruit mixture. Now I made this last night, so let me show you what's in it.
So you will need 1 cup of golden raisins, a half of a cup of regular raisins, and a half of a cup of dried cranberries, and then a half of a cup of chopped whole dates. You will need to zest 1 orange, and then you will need the juice of an orange. Now I am squeezing the juice into a measuring cup here. And then I'm going to take some brandy and I'm going to fill the measuring cup to it equals 5 ounces. Then pour the juice and the brandy over the fruit. Give it a mix. Cover and let sit overnight.
All right, now I'm going to go over the rest of the ingredients that you will need.
So in a traditional Christmas pudding recipe, you will see suet. However, if you can't find it or you don't want to use it, you can use butter, and I'm using 1 stick of butter. And then you'll need 2 eggs and 2 cups of fresh breadcrumbs, half of a cup of flour, and a half of a teaspoon of baking powder. And then your spices, you will need a half of a teaspoon of cinnamon, a half of a teaspoon of allspice, and a 1/4 of a teaspoon of nutmeg. And then you will need 1 cup of brown sugar. Now this is a light brown sugar. You can use a dark brown sugar, or you can add 1 tablespoon of molasses to light brown sugar. Then you will need a half of a cup of walnuts. Now this is optional. I love walnuts, so that's why I'm using them, but you could use chopped almonds if you like. And then you will need 1 apple. All right, so I'm going to add the breadcrumbs to my dried fruit. And then I'm going to add the baking powder to my flour and give it a little whisk. Add that to my mixture. Add my spices. And then I'm going to add the molasses to the brown sugar. And I'm just stirring that in until that molasses is evenly distributed in that brown sugar. All right, and then I'm going to add the sugar to my mixture. And I'm going to give my eggs a little whisk. And then add them. Add the walnuts. And then stir everything together. All right, so I have 1 stick of butter that has been frozen, and I'm going to take this and use a box grater and grate my butter. Then I'm going to add the grated butter to my Christmas pudding mixture and give it all a good stir. Then I'm going to peel my apple. And using the same box grater, I'm going to grate the apple. And then finally add the apple to my mixture and stir until everything is good and combined.
So I do not have a Christmas pudding bowl. I'm just using one of my mixing bowls, and this is a stainless steel bowl. It's a 1.5 quart. And the first thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take some butter and butter all inside of your bowl. And I'm going to take a paper towel with some butter, just butter all inside of this bowl. And then I have cut out a circle of parchment paper I'm going to place in the bottom. All right, then I'm going to add my Christmas pudding mixture. And you'll want to pack it in. Then you'll want to take some parchment paper and aluminum foil and make a pleat and place it on top of your pudding. And then I'm using some twine here, and I'm going to secure this onto my bowl. All right. And then I'm going to trim the excess foil and parchment paper. Tie another string to make a handle so that it'll be easier to pull out of the pot. Just like that. All right, so in a soup pot, I have placed a saucer upside down at the bottom of my pot. And then I'm going to put my pudding on top of that saucer. And then I'm going to fill this pot up about halfway with some boiling water. Turn my heat on to a low heat because this is going to simmer. And then I'm going to cover it and let this cook for anywhere from 4 to 5 hours. And I'm also going to keep my eye on it. Every so often I'll have to add more water to the pot. So I'm going to make a sauce to go with my Christmas pudding, and the sauce that I'm going to make is a brandy sauce. So delicious. So let me show you how to make it. So to a small sauce pot, I'm going to add 2 egg yolks, 2 tablespoons of sugar, 1/2 cup of heavy cream, plus 1 tablespoon of heavy cream. So I'm going to stir this together. I'm going to turn on my heat to a medium-low heat, and I'm going to cook this, stirring constantly until it thickens. As it starts to boil, it will begin to thicken. And this will take anywhere from 3 to 5 minutes, which is looking good now. Turn off the heat, and then add anywhere from 2 teaspoons to 2 tablespoons of brandy. That's completely up to you, depending on how strong you like it. This is about 1.5 tablespoons. And then I like to add 1 tablespoon of butter. So my Christmas pudding has been cooking for 4.5 hours, and I'm about ready to take it out of the pot. Now, the amount of time that you need to steam your pudding varies, anywhere from 4 to 8 hours. The longer you steam it, the darker in color your pudding will be. And the string makes it super easy to lift right out of this pot. So I'm going to let my pudding cool on the counter for 30 minutes before the great reveal. Now, I will be serving my pudding today, but you can actually make it up to 6 weeks before Christmas, and they say that the longer it sits, the more flavorful it becomes. So it is the moment of truth. I'm going to unwrap this little present of goodness. All right. I'm going to flip it over onto a plate. Get ready. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, just look at that. Wow. Okay, so I've waited long enough. It is time to slice into this Christmas pudding. This Christmas pudding, it's delicious. And the brandy sauce, it just goes perfect. It's like these two were made for each other. Well, thank you guys for watching. I hope that you have a very Merry Christmas. God bless, and I will see you soon with more delicious recipes.